Good morning, IOD family. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We have a very special guest today that we are so excited to welcome. We don't often do interviews, but we could not resist having her on the show and talking a little bit about her new book, Leslie Saeta. Did I say that right?
You did. I'm so good. Just so you know, everyone in the family pronounces it different, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, good.
It doesn't matter at all. You can say anything, I'll answer to it, I promise.
I have to tell you a little bit about, we came upon Leslie's Instagram account is how we first met her. Many of you probably know of her account. It's under My 100-Year-Old Home. Just a prolific Instagram account with gorgeous imagery.
Eye candy like
crazy.
So
and we just fell in love and have been following her forever, for years and years. And so we connected and collaborated with her a while back. We contacted her and said, you've got to use some IOD, because we see that she does creative things too, not just decor and table settings, but she actually makes things and makes darling things. And one of the things I love about what she does is she makes it very, very approachable. So,
but still really sophisticated and just exquisite.
And that's our heart is elevating DIY, right? To things that we actually want to display in our homes. So she totally emulates that. And we found her and just connected. And then just recently, about a month ago, Leslie? She launched her brand new book, A Home to Share. And we have bought several copies. And not just because we're featured in it. Well, not us.
Many times.
Yes. Lots of yummy IOD in there, but lots of other things too. One of the things I love about the book is your heart that comes through, Leslie, to make entertaining approachable for even those of us who maybe feel we're too busy or feel we're not talented enough, or who, how am I going to make my home somewhere where people would want to be? You really bring it home to in such a way that really makes it approachable. So that's one of the things, as I've poured through this book, one of the things that really shines through.
Yes.
So
well, and just to catch up those just joining in a bit late, it is
A Home to Share.
This is fabulous, full of amazing photography and eye candy and projects.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Entertaining
is my favorite thing to do. And I have entertained. I mean, when I was in college, I entertained, even when I lived in the sorority house, which is kind of weird.
That's awesome.
There's something about watching that expression on your guests' faces when you do something special. And I'm not talking that it has to be expensive. I'm not talking you have to be an amazing cook. Sometimes I laugh and think I could serve McDonald's hamburgers at some of these parties and no one would notice, because the experience is what's so incredible. And it's just taking the time. And the book, A Home to Share, is really about how to not only entertain, but how to make your home be right for you, your family, and your friends. And so I kind of go through each room in my house and talk about how it can be changed and how it can be more suitable for what our current needs are, because every family goes through a transition. And we start out with cribs and toys everywhere and gates on some of the staircase. I mean, it all changes. And then as you grow, your house needs to grow, but most people don't change the furniture. They kind of leave it the way it always was. And so I talk a lot about adding desks in rooms, because a lot of people are certainly spending more time at home and working at home. And it's just been a really fun kind of experience to create this. And then I go back through each of the rooms and throw a party, and some of them are kind of crazy. I know that they are, but they're really fun. And then I share a lot of the DIYs, and it was so fun to use the IOD products for a lot of things, from candlesticks to chargers. And I have had so much fun with your products. You have no idea.
Thank you.
They brought me, because my goal with DIYs is that it looks amazing, it looks expensive, but it's not expensive and it's easy to make. And and people are like, you didn't make that. And I love when people say that. That means it's a success.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And I love your heart for hospitality. That's such I mean, don't you feel like that's just such a neat way to serve?
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you a story. There's a picture or a kind of a chapter in the book about the outdoor party we did where I built the wood frame and the tabletops, and it's for like set for 40 people. And most of the parties in the book that we set up, they actually weren't parties. They were set up for a photo shoot, and then they took the pictures, and then we took them down. Or I dragged my husband out there, and I'm like, "We're gonna have farm to table party tonight, you and me at this table." But this one I knew was going to be so special because when we came up with the idea to make we took vintage old lampshades and put the floral foam, kind of the sausage floral foam that you can buy. And then we put all the fresh flowers in them and hung them down. I knew this party was going to be unbelievable. So I reached out to all my friends and I said, party at our house. I did it for the next night, the night following the photo shoot. But I said, it has to be a potluck because I knew there's no way I'd have time to cook. And every single guest that walked into our backyard and saw this amazing table, I mean, some of them had tears in their eyes and they're all like, you did this for us. And I'm like, oh no, it's really for the kids. Seriously, but that look on their face is why I like to entertain, because you make these people who aren't expecting anything feel special. And it was the most incredible amount of energy and excitement. And I got tears in my eyes. That's all about.
That is so neat. And that is one of the things I loved about your book is you give a lot of really practical tips to make the experience unique for your guests. And that actually kind of leads me into my first question. I did want to tell our IOD community that I am going to pick a question from the audience at the end after we're done picking Leslie's brain. So feel free to start posting your questions and we will pick one for Leslie to answer after we're done. But my first question is, as we come into the Thanksgiving holiday, and a lot of people will be entertaining and we're going to be setting our tables. What is one practical tip that you can give that will make big impact for the Thanksgiving table, for the table setting?
The first thing I would do is I would remember that this dinner is for your guests. I think a lot of times we get caught up in getting the food done and making sure we have enough food and whatnot, but it's really about the experience for your guests. So even doing something really clever with place cards is fun. But if you're having non-family members, I would encourage you to ask them to bring their favorite homemade item from their Thanksgiving table that they've grown up with. Give them that chance to experience what they love, but also share it with everybody else. And it makes it a little easier on you too. We do a Friendsgiving dinner every year. In fact, it's in 2 weekends. And my guests bring their favorite item that they had from when all the Thanksgiving dinners they've had their whole lives. And so everyone...
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I love that tip because I always tend to feel like the cooking's a burden. And so I do it all myself. I do enjoy it, but I don't reach out and I don't have people bring things.
Because you don't want to burden others.
Because I don't want to burden others.
Exactly.
But what a neat way to look at that for them to get to share some of their family holiday history with the group.
That's awesome. People and some of my friends are like, no, we don't have anything. You're too good of a cook. And I'm like, and they're like, will you give me one of your recipes? And I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, fine, here's the recipe for my favorite, sweet potato casserole. And then they're super happy too. But if somebody feels like they're contributing, it's great. Now that's important, but here's the most important tip. The thing about a table is you don't want it to feel intimidating. You want to have it feel inviting. And so sometimes that perfectly set, matching everything table just has that sense of, oh, wow, which fork do I use? And, I mean,
Yep.
it's intimidating. Make it inviting. And I think the easiest way to do that is with mixing and matching. Don't worry if you don't have a place setting of china for 12. It's better if you don't, because you can take various different plates and mix everything up.
Oh, I
And
love that.
as much as it'd be great if you could keep it within one color theme, you don't have to. Brown and blue look so great together.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you think about the different color combinations, but by using mixed glasses and mixed silverware, I can't tell you, I don't think in the last 10 years, I've served a fancy table with matching silverware. I always have a combination of my silver and my silver plate. In fact, I put it on the dishwasher, but that's a whole nother story. But what's so great about that mixing and matching, it's just more comfortable and it's more inviting. And I think that's definitely what you want your guests to feel.
I love that.
It does. It creates just a relaxed feel, but it's charming, right?
Yes.
It's not, it doesn't seem like you didn't care. It actually does look put together and intentional.
Oh, absolutely.
Charming and inviting and warm.
Yeah, that's so good too, because so many times, like, we love all of the, beautiful, ornate and just lavish designs that, you find that have been made all throughout history. But I like to juxtapose it with a little informality, because I don't want it to be formal or stuffy, but I love all those bits. And that's another way of doing that, is by mixing and matching. I love that.
I do too.
And it's just a lot less inexpensive too, I think, when you feel like everything has to match.
Yeah.
Use what you have and just have fun with it.
That's excellent. So fun.
Excellent practical advice.
So tell me, Leslie, what is, if you had to think back on your previous entertaining and bringing people into your home, what is the most unique thing that you have done for your guests? You can choose one. If maybe it's too hard.
There's probably a lot. Yeah, I'm starting to think there's a lot.
Yeah.
One of them is a party that's in my book, and it's the Top Chef party that I did. And
I saw that.
Yes, and I have two dinner clubs I'm involved in, shocking. And our local dinner club, which is Friends Nearby, that's only been going for like 5 years. I have another dinner club that's 30 years old, if you can believe it. That's how long we've been getting together.
Wow.
But the one group, they're kind of a lot of chefs. And so I've always been kind of intimidated that when it's my turn, I'm cooking everything. So I invited them all in the kitchen, and everyone got an apron. And there were 2 boxes sitting on the island, and this is all in the book. I'm not going to tell you everything. And inside each box, mystery box, were ingredients that you had to use to make an appetizer.
Oh,
and they were allowed to use anything else in the kitchen except what I was using for the rest of the meal, which I was cooking. And it was so much fun. Oh my gosh. And the teams were hard to do, but we actually did boys against girls, because one of the guys is a really, really great chef. He's probably the best cook in the group. And it was I have never laughed so hard in my life. It was so funny. And it was kind of tiring. And I think they were all so happy that the rest of the meal was ready to go.
That is so clever. I got to ask, when you put the boxes together, did you have an inkling of end result at all, or was it totally random?
I mean, I was somewhat nice. I mean, I'm not going to put like olives and peanut butter together. I mean, there's some, you have to think about it, but you want to make them think a little bit and put that one kind of little bit of a zinger in there.
A little challenge.
Yes. And it was so fun. And everyone took ownership on this meal, and everyone was so proud. There was no winning team, because we would have killed each other trying to decide who that was going to be. But it was just a way, and everyone had so much fun. It was wonderful. But for holidays, we like to do a lot of traditions, and as simple as those may be, it's just things that my kids and my husband and I have done forever. I mean, one Christmas for dinner, I'm a big flea market shopper, and I had bought a bunch of old Christmas albums, which were like $2 or $1 each, but I didn't buy them for the music. I bought them for the covers, and I put the covers on the table as the placemats. And then I said, okay. And I realized my kids don't even know the words to half the Christmas carols, because we started singing at dinner. And this is when they were like 14. And I was like, what? So we worked on that for a while. But I just want to have fun and do unexpected things that my guests don't expect. And I think
love that.
I do too. And those
fun.
creative, unexpected ideas seem to be just pouring out of you. I love that.
The thing is, they're not expensive to do. They take a little bit of thought, and they don't have to be crazy, but even just setting a table in front of a fireplace and having a dinner party there for 2 or 4 or however many is wonderful. And anything I can do outside is great, because you don't need any decor. You just set a pretty table and you're outside, and there's light and everything. And it's
I'm already noticing a theme throughout your ideas and the way you talk about them. And that is not taking things too seriously.
Oh, no. No, never, not stuffy. And that's why I like the table so much. And when you set a beautiful table, that's great. But I feel like it's intimidating. And we're a pretty casual family. My boys are 31, 29, and 28. And so we laugh a lot. There's more wine glasses on the table than anything, I'll warn you. but we have so much fun, and that's what it's all about. And my goal is to provide the environment where everyone feels relaxed and happy and great food.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like usually at Christmas, we do one night where if the boys have their girlfriends there, and my son, of course, has his wife there, we kind of break up and split up parts of the meal. And it's easier for me, but it's fun for them too.
Yeah, it's interesting how much human connection and relationship is connected to food.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? And how just, there's that term breaking bread.
There's an intimacy.
Eating together. Yeah. There is. When everyone is experiencing the same thing at the same time, there's a connection that happens that really just kind of brings the guards down and puts people at ease. And there's just vulnerable conversation that is easier to have in those moments that I've seen. Yeah, that's really special.
It's really about having fun. That you really did.
Yeah,
we're having fun.
And speaking of having fun, actually, I'm going to pull a question right now from our audience that I can't believe I didn't think of, because this is so core. This is from Mary Casey, and she wants to know, how do you keep from being stressed out? What are some tips to, really avoid becoming overwhelmed and stressed out when you're entertaining?
Okay. The number one thing is in my book, and it's called the color-coded spreadsheet.
I saw that. That's amazing.
This is something that so to give a little history, we've had a Christmas party. Well, not the last couple of years. We didn't have one. But we've had a Christmas party since my husband and I have been married, and we just had our 36-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Now, the first year we had like 30 friends, and I made all the food, and it was great. And then you go all those years, and now we have like 250 friends, and I still make all the food.
Wow.
So, for my book launch party, we had 250 people, and I made all the food. So the way I think, probably 15 years ago, I came up with this idea. And what it is, it's a spreadsheet, and it has each item listed on the menu. And then it has the main task. So let's say it's crab cakes. The first task would say make crab cakes. The second task would be make the lemon dill sauce. And what I do is I color code the day I have to do that. So I know I can make the crab cakes the day before. So that make crab cakes is coded the color of the day before the party. And the lemon dill sauce, I also can make the night before. So that's coded. So I have this whole spreadsheet and all these different colors. And for 2 weeks, I go to the spreadsheet, I look at the color of the day, and I know when I go to bed, if I have those done, I'm fine. And suddenly the stress comes from the unknown, worrying about what you haven't done, worrying about if you're going to have enough time, and having this all on a spreadsheet. And I have like 3 copies taped on the refrigerator and the cupboards in my kitchen. And every day I get that satisfaction of crossing it off. And then I also do plan things that I can make in advance, like all the desserts and everything are all desserts I can make 2 weeks in advance and put in the freezer. But it's just, and not trying to do too much. The party's gotten a little out of hand. I mean, I make like 17 different hors d'oeuvres and 8 different desserts, which is crazy. I can make 10 and that would be fine. So I'm learning to not keep adding. I need to, kind of subtract and add.
That's also a good tip because I relate to that.
Absolutely.
Relate, biting off more than I can chew.
Right. Right.
And I get lots of help. My girlfriends all come over the 2 days before the party.
Oh,
And
that's great.
I mean, I make 500 crab cakes. So I haven't actually made those 500 crab cakes in years because I'll make I'll cook everything. And then my girlfriends will actually, put them in the little patties. Now, about 10 years ago, I got smart and I hired a company to come in on the day of the party. And they actually, during the party, heat all of the hors d'oeuvres and everything that I've made, and they serve it and they clean up.
So you can be freed up to be with your guests.
Yeah, because I realized it wasn't fun for me at all ever, and now I get dressed and I might have a few questions about things, and I might go, the crab cakes are a little overcooked, but it's great. It's great. So
that's awesome.
That is.
But
so
we
on that,
entertain for like 10 people, so it's no big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now on the spreadsheet, because you really got that kind of stuff is my love language. So I'm not super good at making them, but I love the idea of them. Do you have like a template that you share with people?
Well, you know what? There's a picture of it, and I haven't made a template because it all depends on the items themselves. But you can look at the picture in the book and you'll see, oh, that's what she did. Because there's a little quote at the top where the days, like the 2 weeks prior, are all different colored day.
Yeah.
And you can see where they match. And it's the most amazing process. So it's helped me a lot. And the other thing is, you know what? My girlfriend and she helped me a lot with this book. Her name is Mary Liz. We have this term called shedding. And shedding is when you look at that item, you're like, no time, cross it off and don't think about it ever again.
Okay.
Yeah, don't lament.
Yes. And it's those, I wanted to do this floral arrangement and we ran out of flowers. You know what? We're going to shed it. And you have to be able to do that because no one's going to know, only you. And it's not worth the stress. And it's okay.
Yeah. So, letting things go, I think, is really key to
it really is.
To
entertaining and
life. Your stress. Yeah. Exactly.
So I had happy hour with my girlfriends last Friday night, and on the original text thread, I said it started at 4:30. And then when I went to remind everyone, I looked back and I saw a message that had 5:30 in it, but it was someone saying they couldn't be there till 5:30. So I said, okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 5:30. Well, half the group came at 4:30. About 75% of the group came at 4:30. I was upstairs changing, hadn't done anything. Everything was laid out on the island, but the charcuterie board, nothing was done. They all showed up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. They were laughing. We were having fun. I was getting everyone cocktails, running down, getting wine out of the wine cellar. And I was like, you know what? Who cares? What can you do?
Wine covers a multitude of sins.
It does. It does. And normally I would have had everything done and set out and looking nice, but I don't even know if anyone noticed. So it was fine.
So another theme I saw in your book in general, not just in terms of entertaining, was keeping things functional and purposeful. So not beautiful for the sake of beautiful, but beautiful and functional. Yeah. So this next question may seem a little silly, but Josie and I both have wondered this in general about beautiful table settings.
I feel like it's the thing, like the design people, the decor and design people know, and I'm just know. Like out of the loop.
We're just so these beautiful centerpieces that the candles and the large floral arrangements, do those all get moved at the time that you eat, and do you intentionally keep them easy to remove? Or how do you approach the centerpiece in a way that's functional, allows guests to see each other, has room for food, things like that?
If you ever want to know which tables I actually have a party at, look at the centerpiece, because that's the difference. It's kind of funny because you can take a tall vase and do the flowers this way instead of that way. And then you can see across. Another thing I do a lot is you may see two centerpieces, and it's because I'm putting them in between the two chairs so you can actually see the people across. And it's hard to do. But I do, you'll see it a lot of times where there's maybe more of stuff happening in some really small vases, because I am having the party and I do understand. I probably should make a claim on some of those things, but there was a time when my husband would sit down at the table and immediately go like this, and I'd be like, ugh. I finally realized I had to be more practical. So there's a couple in the book I know that are a little big that probably would get in the way. But the other thing I do is I take the arrangements and I just spread them out this way, and they work so well.
Okay, that's a great tip.
Yes, those are great
for the photo, and then just spread them out, and they're fine. They're fine.
Linda Dunlap,
too, so that helps.
Linda Dunlap is asking if you have a cookbook out.
I don't.
Is that your next book, maybe?
No, it's not, because it's another book. No, I'm not a cook. Like, I mean, you look at my friend Tegan at Half Baked Harvest and what they do. I mean, it's amazing.
Oh, I love her.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And it's just I'm not that good of a cook to write a cookbook, put it that way. I have so much fun and I love doing what I'm doing, but I'm way better at DIYs and entertaining and home decor. So I know my limitations.
Well, we have
to ask.
We have really enjoyed having you and being able to ask more questions. And we will be actually featuring Leslie on our blog coming up soon as well. So keep a lookout for that. And definitely don't forget to get your copy of A Home to Share. There is so much goodness in here, you guys. It's not just about entertaining. It's about making your home inviting and warm for your friends and family.
Yes.
So
treat
hospitality
yourself,
in general.
Make a little time to sit down in a corner, cozy with your cup of tea and just enjoy it. It's wonderful.
Yes.
And you can find it just about everywhere. It was so funny. On the same day, my sister-in-law and my sister, one in Southern California and one in Atlanta, sent me a picture of their favorite store that had my book. My sister said she screamed because she couldn't believe that it was at this little tiny amazing store. But you can buy it online. Anywhere you buy a book, you can find it. So
yes, you can find it. We ordered ours on Amazon, and I will actually have a link to the book on Amazon on this post. I forgot to put it, sorry. But I will add it to the post after this interview. So if you're rewatching this interview, look for that link. It'll be in the description of the post.
Thank you so much. You guys are so amazing.
Thank you, Leslie. We feel the same about you. It's just been a treasure to get to know you and to just collaborate with you and just bask in all of your beauty and all the beautiful things that you make. You bring such beauty into the world.
Very much an inspiration, Leslie.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.